you, thank you.
All right. Sorry for the panic there, chat. Is the audio working and can you hear us as well as what's going on here? Go ahead and pull up some music as well while we wait.
Shall I turn in my badge and rifle as well?
Oh man, I gotta find my nice shirt.
Yep.
I gotta match your energy real quick.
All good.
Ooh, this one's plaid. Perfect.
Sounds good. Suit. Hello, hello. Sorry about the audio and the delay issues. It looks like I had some old settings as I tried to sync up my Streamlabs up with Booze Bash again. Um, but still can't make his bed. Well, yeah, I just woke up like 5 minutes ago, so go figure. But yeah, we're going to be looking at the draft here. I guess you did see part of it as it was unfolding, but we are actually going to go. Let me go ahead and turn this down a little bit. So we're going to see a Kaisa from Maddie. We're going to see Grant playing Warwick. We're going to see a Zir for M. Benton. I believe that somebody else is, I believe Mariah Carey is going to be playing instead of Waffle Dog, so that's going to be an interesting sub. So there are 2 subs on the way for Piltover, whereas we have 1 sub for Shadow Isles. And Shadow Isles has Big Sad ADC. Again, shout out to him for coming in and being a part of this wonderful tournament. He'll be subbing in for Wrath of Pingu. Meanwhile, we could see it's going to be Library 11th Nidalee. I don't think we've seen it just yet in Booze Bash. It'll be very interesting to see how he does. Lazy Boy on Caston. Of course, we've seen lately that Lazy Boy has been playing all these sort of decent carry champions, and it'll be interesting to see how that pans out towards the later stages of the game, if, of course, they do last that long.
And
Yeah.
so far on the left side, we have all these scaling picks, so definitely going to be interesting how Grubs play out. That first dragon plays out. Warwick, Gnar, especially if as is the Rage Bar ready and built up in time. It's gonna be tough for them. Play it out.
I just pulled up the draft in case we need that reference, but of course, I can also pull it up as needed here. It's very likely going to be a Maokai support, Kaisa, Kaisa ADC, Ututut, Gnar on top lane. Though we do have 2 subs for Piltover, so I'm still curious about where they're going to be going. I believe it's Sarah and Mariah Carey that are going to be the 2 subs. Meanwhile, we have Big Sad ADC going top with TF. So a lot of unconventional picks here, but of course, that's all. Only time will tell how this game spans out. I will say though, in terms of team fight, in terms of the way that these fights should go, Piltover has a much stronger team fighting in terms of their CC, in terms of how well they can set up for the carries to execute the damage properly. However, it looks like Shadow Isles has a significant amount of damage for all of their members. Except for Leona, but overall, it looks like they're going to be dealing a lot of damage, and it'll be very interesting if all of them are capable of dishing out that damage. And Piltover falters or hesitates as to who to prioritize for throughout the team fight. So it could get
And
pretty
a
bloody.
big thing to see is just all eyes on top lane for me. We have the TF. I feel like that's going to be a big point of contention for Piltover. Want to really neutralize, get him handicapped early, making sure he doesn't scale well into the mid game, because TF with R, he's able to, if he doesn't have TP, it doesn't matter. He has a Zar. He can get to the wave faster, start that tempo, get that ball rolling faster, be able to rotate to different lanes. So let's be really interesting to see how they stop that momentum.
Mm-hmm. Can we go ahead and get a setup for the predictions for game 1 here? Looks like we have the team set up. Looks like we have the cast all here. Let's go ahead and see who's going to be doing what, and let's go ahead and set up that prediction. don't know if I could do that from my end here. Hmm. Can I do this? Not yet. One of the mods, I'll go ahead and leave that to you. But it looks like we're going to be going to just wait ahead. Go ahead and wait for spectator delay to finish up. I'll be adjusting all of the webcam related things. And we'll just have to wait and see how this game turns out. I can tell you already.
There's
This
a couple different builds coming out. You know, a Azir tank with the grasp. Be interesting to see if he pulls out the grasp. Notoriously, the tank Azir, he'll go Leandries into Frozen Heart into Abyssal Mask, and
So
it's really annoying for the enemy to deal with. So
I could see that being good, especially I don't like the idea of building Leandries into this particular team because the only person I think that would be very healthy would be Castan and Leona. Nidalee, Vayne, and TF, all of them tend to be a lot squishier as champions, which is another reason why I think Warwick is going to be a particularly dangerous pick to go into the rest of this team. We'll just have to see how things go. There are a lot of new players, of course, as I mentioned time and time again. So this may turn out to be a completely different set than what we've seen in the previous games, particularly with not just Shadow Isles, but also with Piltover here.
exactly, you know, gotta love the spice that's added to the Gamba. People don't know who to predict anymore. Could be anybody's game.
For sure. I'm gonna go ahead and take out the delays and my webcam, and we're gonna go ahead and jump right into the game. Hopefully, it doesn't bug out for us like it has been over the past couple weeks, but we'll get right to it. There we go. Let me know if there are still any issues. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that the client, it looks like the client is not updated here. So let me make sure. Hello.
Okay, just make sure we're synced 12, 13, 14.
Yep. I'm synced up. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that my game capture is working properly. It doesn't look like it has been. There we are. Cool. So yeah. Oh, Sarah client broken. Understandable right now. Oh, it's okay. We are. That was a very instant pause. We will see a bit of a. We'll be dealing with something here. A bit of freezing going on because they did just pause the game. But overall, I can go ahead and show off the build starts here. Right. We can already see that Mariah Carey is going to be going Gnar top. Go ahead and adjust this here. Gnar top with Fleet, very safe pick, especially against TF. TF actually opting to go Ghost Flash here, so looking to fight, looking to be as aggressive as possible, and just being all up in everybody's face. Specifically, particularly after level 6, out equates TF's kind of execution of his post 6, very similar to be like Quinn's, right? Quinn always opting to roam instead of staying in lane, which is a bit of a gamble. If they actually can get away with it. Ooh, a cheeky ward there by
they didn't get it
by
in
Library
time.
11. They were not able to get it in time, and it looks like they're going to be able to grant that vision, especially since nobody has changed their wards yet. It looks like Warwick is opting to keep his yellow trinket. Meanwhile, Library going for the red trinket here, and kind of getting that boost in terms of the vision score. You can see Pasta Man here.
Something to consider is that TF with the Ghost, if the lane's ever pushed into him, you know, he lets that come into him a little bit. Perhaps the Nidalee looks topside. You have a lot of space to work with that Ghost. And you can definitely get some great value, you know. A lot of people do it for trades just to get some extra damage in, and I personally think it's worth.
A very standard start. It looks like both Grant and Library 11 are starting on the top side. They're going to be working their way down. So it looks like they're both going to be looking at how volatile the bot lane is. There's also a good chance that Nidalee, who's very fast at clearing, might go for a level 2 gank up top as well. Of course, with Mariah Carey getting a level 2, most Gnars tend to go E second. This is going to be just a standard play. We'll see if he goes for the E or the W second. He went for W second, so which means he doesn't have a jump ready. He went for Boomerang though, and the W, which I believe is his hyper. So it looks like he's going to be prone to ganks for at least another 30 seconds while he gets that next wave. But as I mentioned, it looks like both Warwick and Nidalee are going to be going to the bot side here to go ahead and give them prio, give them an opportunity to see what they're made of.
And so far, nothing really crazy to happening in the lanes.
Mhm.
No incredible trades so far. It looks like red side is pushing a little bit into bot
It's
bot lane
looking
at the
good,
moment.
and that honestly, despite the fact that they are pushing well, it's actually a boon for Shadow Owls here because it means that 022 is a little further overextended than than he regularly would be.
Exactly. I see what that Nilly plays off of that. Maybe she looks for the angle a little bit earlier, perhaps. But the wave might be crashing very soon. Looks like it's timing up with the Krugs.
You're gonna go ahead and do a quick trade here. Jord actually going in a little too aggressively, having to
Has to
flash
flash
out.
out.
We do see the ignite come from Maokai there, and overall, it's actually a very good trade for Piltover here, and that means that Library won't be able to get this. So
Exactly.
easily.
Looks like Pasta Man set up for position.
Double
Need a
ward
W
here.
whenever necessary. Get a kill, but it looks like they
again,
back off. They get the
yeah.
scuttle.
Rather than risk out the early game and kind of snowballing a lane, I think both are opting to wait and play slowly and patiently, which I think is the best way. More in favor of Shadow Owls. If we go ahead and look, yeah, it looks like. Let me go ahead and switch that as well.
Wow.
Yeah,
Lazy Boy actually doing really well in the CS department in the mid lane. Melee versus range, typically gonna expect to get 10 CS behind her, so call that a dub. But he's doing really well so far.
He did just get chunked out. He doesn't have any more pots. It may be that hide on
Ooh,
K-Push.
flash from Arcane Havoc pulls the W further than intended.
We got the flash from Pasta Man as well this time. And overall, it actually looks like
Big Zaddy to carry ghosting on the play. Do they get enough damage? Library flashing in, gets a counter flash, and that's a trade of flashes so far. Maybe they re-dive, perhaps they crash that and look again.
I do like the fact that we do have all this action going on. Oh my god, Lazy Boy living with a sliver of health. Very well played. We do see that despite despite having these ganks being used, Library is just slowly but surely inching ahead as he's clearing through the jungle. Looks like Grant is now going to go ahead and come top. Big Side AC has to watch out here because it's going to be.
Oh, looks like he's out of position. Already uses the W, can't use it for Warwick.
Nope. This is going to be
first blood
on the way to Big Sad ADC.
He's definitely big sad after that death right there.
For sure.
Pasta Man going in with the W, getting Jord out of position.
Overall, it's not looking too great for a very good condemn here. It looks like there's
cleanse out of the condemn, flashes away.
Overall, it's going to be very bloody. We get both suns from 022, but Arcane is kind of undervaluing how much damage that Maokai can do. And just
level
like
2
that,
Q just putting in work right there.
Yep, just like that, Pasta Man just bots him. Arcane Havoc is sent to the grave.
And Laser Boy gets level 6, and instantly this lane dynamic is changed for the worse for the Azir.
Yeah. We'll have to see how he plans to play out these trades. Kate Bush, has he backed yet? He has backed once, but yes, again, like it looks like this lane is very in favor of Lazy Boy now. We see Grant coming in just to give a little bit of assistance, but I mean, given the wave state,
crash the wave, get the reset. That's really what you're looking for.
Given the wave state, it's looking actually still in favor of Lazy Boy. He can just freeze the wave here if he so chooses,
or clears it.
Decides to clear it.
Fine. He has stacks of Azar, so he should be able to get. We get
the back stop from Hide on Kate Bush, almost dying to that Nidalee Spear. Very well played by Library. That actually makes it so that Lazy Boy has a little bit more tempo on his side.
Exactly. Tempo's all in favor of Shadow Owls right now, and losing some minions. TF gets possibly good roam timing. He has R up.
Grant holding out the mid lane, deciding to soak up that wave. Very nice. Very, very smart. I think overall, there's nothing that they can really do to contest. Well, there's no objectives to contest to say the least as well. But
exactly.
With that in mind,
and Lazy Boy doesn't have a TP right now, so it's kind of a pressure point right on clearing this wave, or else Hide on Cape Bush is in a really good spot.
You got most of the important parts of the wave. I don't think it's that big of a deal if he gives up too much of this. Looks like we get to see an ulti come out from Mariah Carey. And Big Side
Really good
ADC
trade for
doesn't look
Mariah Carey.
yeah, it doesn't look too good. He may have to flash out. We do see the flash out here. Hide on K push, kind of chunking down Lazy Boy once again to a point where he probably will have to back. And Mariah Carey, or not Mariah Carey, excuse me. Big Side ADC also having to back here. And kind of in a rough spot. Do see the plant being used mid. And meanwhile, we do see Arcane having Jord kind of pushing the wave slowly but surely. While this is not that bad, it sets up a good priority lane for the Dragon. We also do see that they anticipate, and you can see that with the wolf head popping up, they already saw that Grant is going to be hovering nearby. Grant's going to be going to start the Dragon here with the priority restored back to Piltover. And we'll go ahead and see Library decide to go ahead and clear out all of top lane here.
Looks like Piltover bot lane rotating, get the shove on. They have access to the Dragon to help out. And it looks like they also have an XP lead as well, you know.
They do.
Arcane have it just at 6, but 022 is more than halfway to 7 right now.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, of course, because of the early skirmishes where there were some misplays going on. But I think overall, they accepted that, they acknowledged that this is going to be the case. I believe that Shadow Isles has a very good late game comp, not so much an early game comp. So we're just looking to scale. They're just looking to give up some early camps, some early deaths. Those are all within the realm of anticipation. And they're going to go ahead and find a very quick TP. Very quick steps from Kate Bush means that there is nothing to come from that ulti from Big Side ADC. But it does
reaction.
Yeah. It does keep in mind that very same play may come again. Lazy Boy coming and having to flash him, having to dash away himself, just getting away before being hit by another set of autos to destroy.
Flash R by Haim Grant gets the kill and he walks away. Amazing play. And it looks like they're able to shove it in as well. That's really that's a bad predicament for Lazy Boy right now.
For sure. Again, he was already going to back, so it looks like he's going to go ahead and have that empowered back, albeit not the way he would like. We're going to go and see Hide on K-Push also having to back here. And again, it just looks like a slow but steady crawl towards a good lead by Piltover. We're going to have to see how Shadow House responds to all of this action that's been going on so far.
Exactly. Looks like we have the TP burned by Hide on Kate Bush, maintaining that tempo, getting back to the lane, make sure Caston doesn't get a shove and rotate. But looks like Grubby's already started by Library 11.
We have a really sneaky ulti used by Hide on Kate Bush here. Effectively pushing him into turret and already pushing him way below what he wanted to be. And already, if you look, it looks like Lazy Boy is less than 30% HP. Setting it up really well for Grant to just come in and kind of ulti him, do the same thing he's been doing all game. So
Grant was heading towards those Grubbies, almost sniffed it out in time, but they got it.
Did get it. So that means that is good pushing power on the way of Shadow Isles, which I think will be very good, especially as they, who knows, they might even go for objective bounties here. Again, it looks like Big Sad ADC is very likely to be caught here. He's going to have to use Ghost, but it's...
Iron Grant has R coming up.
He does. I don't know if it's enough. They will be able to kill him.
Kill. We have Possum with the W following the flash, and Arcane Heaven is in a world of trouble.
A lot of trouble, but he does manage to secure the kill onto Pasta Man, which is actually pretty good. I believe Pasta Man had a kill for himself, so it's not necessarily a poor trade. It just means that Arcane will have to lose this wave.
Unfortunately, it's a consolation prize for him with the lost wave, but yes. And so you have Haim Grant hovering around top, clearing that wave. But we have a TP coming in from Shadow Isles. Does he have the angle?
It looks like Jordan's actually trying to fight 022. While the initial fight is pretty good, Lazy Boy with a very sneaky TP. It looks like he's going to be able to kill Hide on Kate Bush. And with that, the tide has turned. It looks like it's really looking nice for Lazy Boy there. And that just...
Flash used by Pasta Man trying to get onto Jord, who goes Ignite onto the Ututut, but he cleansed it away, and hopefully might get a reset off.
As much as I am all in favor of Piltover winning so far, with the way that the game has been going, these kills, despite the fact that it's still a 2-5 game, it's actually not looking too good because, again, Lazy Boy's comp, Shadow Isles' comp, is a very scale-heavy comp. If we get to the late game, everybody has their core items, and it looks about even in terms of the team. I'm gonna say right now that Shadow Isles is destined to win. We just
Exactly. I feel like
Jord
Piltover
going in
is
all
obligated to
balls to the
press them,
walls
but
here,
ooh,
trying to get a
it's
really sick play here. It looks like Library got baited in by that. Grant and Postman there to pick it up.
flashes
Library
away,
Man
has the blast
gets a
code to
nice
escape.
flash off and is able to
But
run,
Warwick,
but Warwick
oh,
getting. Oh, very unfortunate. We got to see another ulti there. And it looks like Grant is just racking up kills just by roaming and kind of playing off of how risky that Shadow Isles has been playing so far.
and that's such an unfortunate timing. It looks like Dragon's coming up soon. Perhaps they stay, maybe try to get pressure on that, but never mind. Looks like they're gonna get the reset.
Looks
Maybe they have
like
enough time to
everybody's
get
going to
back
go
on
ahead
the
and
map for it.
reset there. But Warwick also gets a good reset. He gets his first item already. And we could see like all the laners have by now gotten their first item except for Library 11, who hasn't been doing so bad. He's been actually pretty even. He's been ahead in terms of his camps, but unfortunately he's been behind in terms of kills and other, I guess, means of gold. If we go ahead and look, he's about 600 gold away. And it looks like with that in mind, they're going to go ahead and give up, question mark? They're going to give up the second drag. It is
And
Earthquake.
let's take a quick look at the inventory row. You know, we have Warwick with a completed item already.
Yep.
A lot of power over the Nilly, who only has the Sheen, 0 stacks on the Dark Seal and the Sork shoes. So, um, really hard fight for her to play out. They give it up, but looks like Grubbies are coming up soon.
Kate Bush, despite doing quite well in laning phase, is still behind on an item. It looks like TF decides to go for the static play. I believe that is the important item for TF, as it allows him to just completely annihilate a nuka wave here. Lazy Boy trading with Hyde on Kate Bush, trying to bait out and see if he's going to ulti. Goes away, I guess, for the better here. Big Sad ADC, now looking decent, actually. I don't think that Mariah Carey has backed just yet, but I anticipate there to be.
All used by Pasta Man. Maybe there's a pick angle here.
They are looking
W's
for something
on to
here,
Leona.
but it's a very aggressive angle, and it looks like just with that, they really kind of decide to go a little too hard. A good condemn away by O22. Flash being used
Warwick
by Jord.
on the hunt, though.
Warwick on the hunt.
Hard's
Looks like
80 carry.
a missed
W
ulti by
follow-
Jord. It's not looking too good now, and both of them will lose their lives as they trade. Piltover just did a very nice maneuvering of the turret aggro to
Exactly. It looks like that's first tower for Piltover, but matched by Shadow Isles. He's already started the Herald. You know, this is a great thing to do, especially if you see a bad play on the map. Always play on the
Lazy Boy
opposite
is
side.
really tempting fate here. Really just trying to bait out that ulti. Just barely living. But again, it looks like he's just showing that his mechanics are more than meets the eye. It looks like with Hyde on Kate Bush having such a plethora of mana, he will be able to continue staying in the lane. Meanwhile, it looks like Lazy Boy does have to back. He may end up TPing back to his lane, but again, we'll see what happens here.
And just take a note of the Kaisa build so far. I feel like every patch, you know, the Kaisa core always changes. It's always about hitting those stat thresholds, and looks right now it's looking like Eclipse going into Nashers, hitting all 3 of the things on the potentially 2 items.
A good buffer by Lazy Boy, preventing that W from effectively hitting, preventing the overall WQ combo that most Maokais are familiar with. And Big Sad ADC just kind of chilling now. He's getting into the whole farming phase where he can sustain himself in lane. He doesn't have to do too much. And it's going to start piling up in gold. You can see right now, despite the fact that he is basically 2 kills down, and about 40 gold, he's only about 1,000 gold behind Gnar, which is actually surprisingly not as large as you'd think. Lazy Boy already showing how much.
Oh, flash R
Very
to
good
get the
flash.
kill, but it's a trade.
It's a bit of a trade. Looks like Jord going in to try and fight this with O22 and Arcane kind of following up, but it's a rough start here. It looks like both a library and again, it looks like they're not able to dish out that damage just yet, and because of that, again, a lot of fighting going on, not a lot of priority or targeting that I see from Shadow Owls. And since Piltover is in a situation where
Oh, and the flash spy used, but it's not
really
enough. The
good
W already comes out from
bait by
Maokai,
Big
and they
Side
get the kill.
ADC.
Do
But
they get the
again,
tower in time?
they
They
do get the
do, and
tower, and
Postman
Postman
lives.
lives. Yep, very well played.
But we already have a TP coming already before they even reset. More tempo, just pressing on the advantage. And looks
Mhm.
like it's another tower for Piltover, pressing that lead, and they get a lot off this play.
They do. I also want to point out, with that play in mind, you can already see the fact that this, Shadow Owls' team is very dependent on how much damage they can dish out. If they don't dish out the damage, they don't win. So,
Exactly. Not a lot of tank stats going around that team besides Leona, and it's hard to play around Leona when you're able to stretch the map and press shove those waves really fast.
I also want to say that it's very likely that, given the way that this game has constantly been shifting towards Piltover, Shadow Owls may not be able to hit their full potential by the time the game is over. Uh, so we'll have to just wait and see how that goes. We already see the objective bounties coming up for Shadow Owls, and again, none of the towers, none of the big kills or shutdowns have been kind of going on the way for Shadow Owls. Maybe this was what they were waiting for. This may be the big break that they see, especially as we see Kassadin already at level 13. Once Kassadin hits 16, you know how much damage he can actually output. We'll be able to see just how quickly this tide turns if Lazy Boy can truly 1v9 this game.
Exactly. And the next dragon's coming up soon. A big contention of the game is if they're able to get all 4 dragons Piltover, then this game is accelerated extremely fast, and it might spell the end of them, considering how
they're going to
dependent
go
they are
ahead
on
and
scaling.
attempt to go for this mid turret here. They're going to get it, and they're going to see
Get
if,
it. Oh,
a
3-man
really good
shuffle,
3-man
followed up
shuffle
by the
there.
Kaisar.
Followed
Might
by
be a bad time for him.
We're going to see if they can even get one more kill here. Not with that amount of CC. They just poured on the CC. We have our carry laners on the side lanes, unfortunately, and it looks like they're unable to get much more than that mid turret. And 3 kills going over to Piltover, it looks like Lazy Boy is the next target here. Very unlikely that he gets out of this alive, but we'll see.
The W.
Very
Oh
good,
my goodness.
a very good channel by
Wow.
by Grant,
Great
holding
discipline on
on.
the queue to follow. Exactly.
And with that in mind,
And
it looks
looks like Shadows is in a terrible position.
Yep.
Look at that items right now. Nar really, he's saving a lot of gold right now, able to reset, get that second item, and it's not a great time for Shadows here.
Yep. And I think we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg, hopefully, because we do see a lot of subs on Piltover as well as a lot of subs on Shadow Owls. So, or not a lot on Shadow Owls, but per se, but we do see Pingu out and Big Side HC here. And again, this is just I guess the taste, the sampling of just of how they play. We don't even know if this is their truest potential. So it's going to be very exciting to see how they play, especially towards the later end of these games, or this game and the rest of the set as well.
So right now we have Azir in the bot lane. TP coming up soon. Maybe going to hold that position, allow the team to flex on the other side of the map, get Baron Prio, and lean towards that. But looks like we might have a pick here on Library.
Really deep. But
wow, the Q
he has
following the
his
flash
entire
again.
team. And with
And
that,
that's just unfortunate. Warwick's OP. What can I say?
he knows that he's going to be caught here. Unfortunately, does not land the ult and is caught out. With that in mind, this is a prime time for them to go ahead and do Baron. An ult missing from Kate Bush. And with that, it looks like Lazy Boy just chunking out a lot for Jord being caught out here too.
Vayne coming in
Vayne
stealth.
should be able to get this. A very simple condemn into a kill. Flash being
That
used
is a
by
trade of
Jord.
Baron right now.
They do
And
trade Baron.
looks like we're still in the back end of this trade.
By now, if you notice the board, you'll see that there are huge bounties going up for both Grant, Mariah Carey, and Otutut here. So again, a lot being left to be desired. We now see about a 10k gold lead for Piltover. And it looks like Piltover just wants to close out this game as fast as they can. Make it an 0-2, and just finish up strong.
And looking right now at the 80 carry gold difference, Kai'Sa's sitting at 4,000 gold over the Vayne. So
Sure.
yeah,
Kai'Sa's
if they're able
been
to play around this Kai'Sa, it's going to be tough for them to play.
Despite the fact that this draft has like kind of ended with Arcane picking Vayne, this has gone quite terribly for Shadow Isles or for Arcane Havoc specifically. Postman having to flash out there and also having to ult. O2 coming in might be a little too hasty here as Lazy Boy is able to kind of go in and just missing out because he ran out of mana. And just like that
Ignite
with the
wasn't enough. He
TP,
walks away.
Knight wasn't enough. And with the TP coming in,
That
looks
Q
like
hitting on the tip.
Arcane having
They get
to
the face.
condemn him away, and the Q doesn't hit. But a seemingly really nice bait and a seemingly really nice pick for Pasta Man turns into a terrible play by Shadow Owls, and they're now threatening in a tower in the mid lane.
Looks like Piltover getting that bot tower. There's a lot of gold in the Azir.
Again, this is just turning out to be a very terrible time for almost all of Piltover, or almost all of Shadow Isles, because they're very squishy. They don't have a lot of health on the way to like effectively deal with all of the damage, or even all of the CC that Piltover's been kind of pushing.
Exactly, and that's the power of these Baron minions. They're so hard to kill. It allows for your melees to create so much space, walk up to them, and they can't deal with you. So the pushes are just devastating, and that's
we see
that's why
Lazyboy
we see so
try
many
and create
towers
these
lost.
openings, but again, he's the only one that has the level advantage to do so. If you look at the level differences here, it's actually quite wild. We have Jord and Arcane 10 and 12 here, Pasta Man and O22 12 and 14, both 2 level differences for both. For mid lane, it's only a 1 level difference. That's usually fine. I believe that Lazyboy's been doing a great job despite his team being in completely behind here. Grant and Library 11, it looks like Library 11 is kind of on the back pedal here as well. 2 levels behind Grant. And Grant's been kind of being very proactive, getting all of the dragons that he can. With that in mind, he's been kind of dominating almost all of the important neutral objectives. And with that, you could just see how much quicker Piltover is already looking to fight.
Uchi found Library 11. Arzen to get the kill.
Arzen to get the kill. We do see a missed ult from Grant, but that's just a gap close at this point. Looks like they're able to secure the kill onto into Library 11. And with that, we're just seeing Shadow Owls fall like flies. And with this, it may spell the end for Shadow Owls here.
That might be game. You know, it's hard to push them off the mini wave, and if they can't clear it, that might be it. Looks like they back off, get the second in him, maybe get the reset. Looks like they're seeing a lot of gold, and that next push that might spell the end for Shadow Isles.
Again, if you want to see the difference, Arcane currently is sitting at 2 items, whereas O22 is sitting at almost 4.5. So, or sorry, excuse me, it looks like 3.5, potentially 4 here. So almost double the items.
The mid lane's kind of close, though.
Mid lane is close. I mean, of course, I believe in terms of how the mid lane's been playing out. If Lazy Boy's been doing very, very well against Tide on Kate Bush. Very close in CS. Fighting a range versus melee game, and also dealing with the fact that it looks like Grant has been kind of having the perma prio for all of the other lanes. So.
And something to watch for is if Piltover pushes in to Shadow Isles before these neutrals spawn, it might be an opportunity for Laserwood to get back into it. If he gets a shutdown, gets a kill, gets level 16, this might be a different game, especially with all those supers coming in. That's a lot of XP.
I do want to point out, it's been about, I would argue it's been about 6-7 minutes since, oh my goodness, it looks like a terrible time for Shadow Isles, and this may spell the end here, with everybody just in shambles. Just being picked off one by one. Yep. Just being shuffled out one by one here. Every lane kind of dying. And you can just see, like, it's not so much the fact that they don't have the damage. They just don't have the manpower, the levels. Yeah, they decide to surrender, save mental for the next game, and it looks like first game goes over to Piltover. What a start. Very underwhelming performance by Shadow Owls, unfortunately. But, again, this is game 1 of 3. We'll go ahead and see how they play out the next couple of games. Maybe they have to revise their draft. I would highly recommend that. But overall,
I feel like the draft was very feast or famine. You know, you had a lot of range. Typically, they don't build tanky, so if you fall behind, you're very susceptible to their advantage and their extra damage. and not a lot of CC as well. So we'll check in on next game, see if they have more setup or if they play it out right and path path a different way. Because I feel like if they played towards the TF early, get him going, it might have been a different game macro wise going into the mid game.
Yeah. TF, I mean, again, tried to set up a couple of great plays, but went for the people who were probably the easiest to move around, right? TF going for the Azir, right? The positioning wasn't terrible, but we got to see Azir casually just maneuver himself out of the way. Nobody was in the right position, right? If TF, I think, was further back and just try to pincer it, and perhaps Lazy Boy and the rest of the team were a little bit further forward, right? The execution was there, but it was executed with the wrong timing in mind, per se.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we do see a surrender here. That's perfectly fine. The game was already over at that point. And we could already see it based off of all the stats that we've been seeing so far, the item choice and the builds, as well as the level differences as well.
And we'll just see how they change up the draft.
Do you think the draft had a
I
very
feel like
good
we'll
play?
be seeing different picks next game, and
A very squishy draft for Shadow Owls kind of spelled their doom, especially when we had CC heavy, I guess bruisers who could dish out, bruiser frontlines who could dish out damage and prevent access to the back line. I think that was what spelled the doom. It looked like
Exactly.
Leona, who was their only sole hard CC, was kind of stuck trying to defend either Arcane or Library or whoever was at the closest to him, which kind of gave him too much. I mean, I would say as a support, that's a lot of responsibility, right? It's like a captain or like a mother duckling trying to make sure that their four little ducklings are safe and sound. So
exactly, the Leona that the game had so many jobs to do throughout the game. You have to ward. You also have to be a warden and zone and frame in front of your teammates as far as like pushing into territory, pushing into those neutrals and getting pressure. And there's a lot of different things in your plate, and
yeah.
it's hard to be everywhere at once.
I'll also mention here, looks like Red Side has been favored by almost all the teams. The picks have been very, very nice. And just the way that the map is set up, a lot of teams have really been milking the Red Side and just liking that side more. So with that in mind, I think Shadow Owls has decided to go for Red Side here. I'm going to go ahead and switch over back to the client if I can. Hello. Why can't anything pop up? We'll go for the window capture again. Should be client. Just say Discord for now. There we go. You can see that as well as hello. This. There we go. And we're back. You can go ahead and I don't know why my my Discord is like this. Got a friend request here from Pasta Man. Go ahead and accept that. One of the players here. Well, very well played. We'll see the draft here, and we're going to go straight into the next part of the draft. Wrong one. Let me go ahead and see if I can adjust this. Hello. Wrong thing. There you go. And I have the draft set up, and it looks like we're going to go straight into it. We have Piltover starting off with their first ban. Well, I'm going to go ahead and try and adjust.
Sorry, would you mind sending me the links real quick?
Yeah.
I didn't get the thing in time.
Give me 1 second here. Profit. Give me 1 second. There you are. And the invite as well.
Thank you.
Just go ahead and slot into the spectator slot as well. We have a Yona ban instantly, followed by a Nocturne ban for Shadow Owls.
Followed by a Camille ban potentially.
Mm-hmm. These
A lot
are
of
the
aggression
same.
out of top lane.
Piltover,
Neutralize.
I think Piltover is very content with what their bans were last game. It looks like it worked well for them. So they're saying if it ain't broke, why fix it? So it looks.
Exactly.
All
So
right, Ari ban. They're banning out Hadam K-Push's Ari here. I'm gonna go ahead and look at the rest here. Anything problematic that Piltover saw? Again, I don't think so. Shadow Isles, I think they're gonna leave the Warwick up. I want to see what Shadow Isles decides to pick for their jungler and their top lane, because I think those were the two that we were very unaware of. They decided to go ahead with the Maokai ban here.
exactly. The Maokai I felt like was a big issue that last game. A lot of great Maokai W's following the flash, getting a great position for follow up. So getting rid
Definitely.
of that
I
is a
would
big
also
thing.
say that
And
the early game for Shadow Owl's spot lane was really, really scuffed after that play. Arcane really close to killing O22, and then attempting to fight in melee range of Maokai and just dying. I think that was a little too foolhardy. They do give Smolder away. That was the ban that they gave up for Maokai, and with that, O22 has Smolder. Shadow Isles, of course, opens up with Vayne again. Uh, Looks like Arcane is just allowed to be on that champion. I'm looking forward to see him start popping off, potentially with a better draft geared towards helping him out. Looks like Leona being picked again. Bot lane looks just about the same. Hopefully, it's not too similar. I believe the execution for Shadow Isles may have been a little scuffed last time.
exactly.
So if the draft is the same, it'll be very interesting to see if we have a similar result here. Janna coming in.
And
Janna very good for Smolder, because not only does Janna provide a lot of shielding, but also provides a little bit of that extra movement speed because of the passive. Janna, I'd say, is one of the strongest support lanes, or strongest support champions currently in the meta, and a very solid pick into Leona. Being able to cancel Leona's dashes or engages with her Q, and just overall providing a great healing and shielding for the team. And not only that, but also shielding turrets too.
And she has a lot of power in these team fights. You know, you can flash R, just neutralize the fight instantly, changing the tide of battle. We'll see how that plays out. And the thing to watch, like the look for Shadow Isles, is the same bot lane. Let's be really interesting to see if they change up that jungle pick. You know, maybe like a
Again,
Viego
I agree
would
with you.
go crazy.
We see a potential brand
Different
pick
options.
here. Oh, a Nivea. A
Ooh.
Nivea potentially going for, or Belveth. I believe Belveth is a very strong pick. Not necessarily, I don't know if it's a counter per se against Warwick, but it's a very, very, I would argue that Belveth scales brilliantly against Warwick, and overall can definitely be someone that goes toe to toe with Warwick, not somebody that gets pushed out like Nidalee does if Nidalee is behind.
And something to watch for Belveth into the Warwick is that whenever Warwick Spear is about to go off, you can always react with the burrow with the E, and it
It
plays out
looks like
favorably
we
for
are
you.
thinking about remake. Oh, Belveth is the pick. Yes, Belveth is the pick. Yeah. Looks like Belveth going to level 11. We'll be able to see a relatively new champion for the first time here. I don't think we've seen a Belveth come up too often on Boost Bash so far. We'll be able to see how that fares against Grant's Warwick, which we've seen time and time again. A classic, but of course a carry, as you could see from last game. They decide to ban out the TF. Don't think it was particularly an issue, but they also it looks like Shadow Isles decides to ban out Hide on K-Push's Azir. Not necessarily a problem until the late game, where he was able to brilliantly maneuver into a three-man shuffle, Shurima shuffle, into an even greater tempo play. And also just an overall great late game scaling champion for the mid lane.
Exactly, and honestly, I think it's a great ban, the Azir. You know, it's just with the grass build, it's so unkillable. Really, really hard to pressure off the spot. Hard to kill him because he has so many tools to disengage with the R and the E. And
On top of
looks like
that,
another
looks like
ban on the Shin.
Shen
The
ban
R.
again, yeah. Again, Shen ban is very smart because I believe Piltover has a lot of great avenues for carries, right? Hide on K-Push wasn't the biggest carry there. It turned out to be both Mariah Carey being very strong and O22 10-0 out of it. He played nearly, I believe, a perfect game if he wasn't killed. I don't think he was killed. Yeah, I believe you played a pretty perfect game there. So to prevent all of these get out of jail free cards, right? I think is a very good place. These are very good picks for Shadow Owls. Now we get to see mid and top for Shadow Owl, and let's see what they pick. Malphite, a very strong, and I believe I said this earlier in Booze Bash chat, a very strong pick against Smolder. Despite the fact that you may be fully stacked as Smolder, you may have a lot on your plate. You may be very fed. A well-placed Malphite ult, can basically mean that you're stuck in the same spot for a long time. So we'll be able to see how that plays out.
And something to watch for that Smolder is that even though she has so much mobility, like a lot of mobility with the move speed from the fleet and the E, it's not really that fast of like a dash or an effect to where Malphite has a relatively easy time swatting out of the sky, especially if Belveth's positioned well. It can get a flash R and it
Yeah.
could spell the death of
We see
Smolder.
Cho'Gath. That could be either a Cho'Gath mid or a Cho'Gath top. Cho'Gath is honestly one of the lower win rate champions in the top lane meta. As long as he gets to sustain, as long as he gets to be who he wants to be, basically scale into his full-on tanky prowess, right? He's a fine top laner, right? He doesn't have a bully like Darius or Riven, right? All up in his face early on. So it looks like Cho'Gath is a fairly safe or wiser pick. But that's if Belveth also doesn't gank as much, right?
Exactly. I mean,
Right.
looking at it, Cho'Gath into Malphite looks like a great pick, honestly, because Malphite tends to want to get just armor. That's primarily where his damage scales from, and Cho'Gath's all about that magic damage.
For
And
sure.
also his passive, the attrition battle is also in his favor. So
He does get to
I feel like
sustain
if
well.
Shadow Owls doesn't pressure that top side, it might be a slow, leaky faucet. Over
Hmm.
time it gets bigger and bigger of an issue.
I will say though, Malphite is not as hard to execute as TF is. So I think that goes without saying that Big Sad ADC, all he needs to do is farm. All he needs to do is make sure that he becomes an effective tool to effectively eliminate people like Hui and Smolder in these team fights. I think that's all that takes. We're gonna go ahead and move back over to the client to see if everybody is ready. We do have a couple people bugging out, and it looks like people are gonna finish up selecting their sides. And after that, we're gonna go ahead and start the next game. We have predictions coming up. What are y'all's predictions? I actually like both team comps this time. It looks like a Malphite pick, and as well as a Kali. A Kali is just a nice standard pick here. I'm being invited by Jackie Fox to a game. I believe that was just out of courtesy. Appreciate that, Jackie. Yeah, it looks like we're going to be going to move shortly onwards. Let me go ahead and try and make sure that not this. My windows have been a little buggy. So let me go ahead and scroll outwards. There we go. Cool. So with that in mind, we have everything set. We're just making sure that everybody's clients are working and move everybody over as appropriately as needed.
And looking at the draft so far, I gotta say I gotta give Shadow Isles the advantage in the draft. Even though Piltover has the advantage in the top lane, I feel like they don't have enough physical damage to balance out the comp to where Shadow Isles it's a very even spread of damage. Really hard for Piltover to atomize.
Again, I want to push you guys for another prediction here. I've always seen Shadow Isles tend to bring it back game two, so it might be an interesting game two for Shadow Isles here, especially with an improved draft. I think this draft is very solid, plays well into everybody, and comparatively, we have a solid front line now. We have Belveth, who actually has really good mitigation tools, especially if she gets to a point where she's very well farmed. We have Malphite, literally a mountain, to block a lot of the damage or to soak up a lot of that damage. We have Leona still, right? So we have three very good, not necessarily initiators per se, but three close up. We have a nice front line essentially for Shadow Owls. And again, Piltover didn't really have to change much. All that they really changed was that they got the prio pick. They lost Maokai, but they managed to get Smolder. So with that, they're looking a little squishier, but they definitely have a lot more access to power here. Considering Smolder has been absolutely tearing up lanes and has really shown how well he can scale into the late game if you let him scale there.
And the main thing I'll be watching for in the early game at least is if Shadow Owls pass towards that bot side, they after a couple like 2 patches or so, they've changed Smolder in the sense that he's weaker early game. He lost power on his W, lost a little bit of scaling power in his Q, and he's more of a scaling champion. So if they're able to shut him down, make sure he doesn't get a lot of stacks. It
Oh,
can go in Shadow Owls'
wait a minute.
favor.
We have an Aurelia pick
Oh,
here. Were we looking at the wrong one?
what? Wait, huh?
Is that Aurelia pick?
I'm uh, I'm confused.
Because I thought I saw an Akali pick mid.
Yeah, I saw a call as well.
Hmm.
Wait a minute. Is Aurelia a collie?
I'm gonna message Library 11 right now. He's not the one that's. Oh, he may be the one that's actually doing this. I'm gonna message. I'll message one of them.
Okay.
Message. Jordan. Hey, did you guys? Because everything else I think was correct. And I believe I sent you the draft, right? So we can go ahead and check it again. Yeah, it was a collie. That is interesting.
Yeah. Is a collie draft.
So I guess unless they decided to handshake it, right?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I guess we're seeing Aurelia. Yeah. Perhaps they misclicked and miscommunicated that part.
Isaac's headset died, and they meant last pick to be Irelia. Okay, as long as that's
okay. That's fine.
Oh, in this chat they said they must have said it in the chat either in the lobby or somewhere else. Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Aurelia. I feel like that's going to be really hard for Hoya to play, especially if once Aurelia gets a couple points or gets a first back. She's a lot of
Aurelia
power.
is
After all
interesting,
those
and
games.
this is also assuming Aurelia is mid. It could be that Malphite is played by Lazy Boy, and we could see a potential Lazy Boy special going Malphite.
Malphite mid is that what you're insinuating? Oh boy.
Malphite mid AP going straight down to
Oh,
Smolder and absolutely
oh
wrecking
my
him.
god.
One of the things
You're
I've
like
been trying to
ultimate
test out,
hunter malignance. Oh.
Malignance for sure. I was thinking more along the lines of Malignance into just full tank. I don't think he needs more than one AP item to deal damage, to be to maintain that identity he wants to have as not just only a tank, but also a tank that deals significant damage and also mitigates a lot of the output that Shadow Isles can have. Something to note about Malphite that a lot of people forget: his E actually reduces attack speed. So, given that Warwick is very attack speed oriented, right, it might be a very effective tool, especially if Warwick ganks Malphite's lane, whether he goes top or mid. But reasonably speaking, I think it should be Aurelia mid, Malphite top.
And something to consider is that if Leona ever goes on to the wait, what am I talking about? Never mind. I was like, Leona goes in the Malphite, it gets slow with the E, the attack speed, but moving on.
Yeah. I'll also say Hui and Smolder, great as they are as DPS, are terribly immobile. Smolder has, of course, the moving over terrain bit, but that may mean nothing in terms of speed because Smolder, I mean, it's a good reposition, but it's not it's not as fast as say a typical dash like Lucian dash. So
and it's not very long either. It's just what, like 1 second of flight, give or take.
Yeah. And even with Janna speeding up the movement speed, um, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to maneuver those plays out. I think a big thing to think about during these team fights is going to be the positioning, because Malphite positioning is obviously important, but how Piltover ends up responding to Shadow Owl's team or Shadow Owl's initiation is also key, right? If Malphite gets to ult Smolder, but if Malphite can't do anything else for the rest of the fight, or even better, if Warwick decides to ult Arcane Havoc, Big Sad ADC, or whoever's on Aurelia, or even Belveth, right? Then Malphite doesn't have the greatest of damage to deal with Smolder, so they might just be able to start moving front to back, giving them an even simpler avenue to just do that. Warwick is kind of a big, I guess, condition here, and that's also with the fact that like we now see Belveth going for Library 11. We'll see how that goes, right? If Belveth manages to stay even, I think that it's going to be in favor of Shadow Owls. I think last game we got to see Warwick kind of spiral very quickly out of control with those ults landing, with those early kills going on towards Warwick, and slowly but surely that map control being lost on Shadow Owls' terms.
I think one of the key things to look out for in this game is just how this Cho'Gath is going to be scaling throughout the game. Because if he's able to scale well, get a CS, maintain even or even get a level advantage, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, especially whenever they pressure for these neutrals. You know,
For sure.
because looks like like Shadow House has a great team to deal with percentage HP. So if he gets ahead of the curve, gets some of those armor MR items, it might play out differently for him.
I will say I have play tested. I say this because I also play, but I've played quite a bit of Malphite recently, and this build that Malphite's going with like Arcane, right, with Arcane Comet, is very strong. Essentially, if he goes Mana Flow Band alongside this, which he does here, it means that he by mid game, oh my goodness, Belveth kind of
Library
goes
gets
in,
the ward off.
gets the ward off, gets away, but it looks like he does have to back as soon as that happens. Again, very cheeky wards from Library 11, just showing that he's capable of that. But of course, we'll see how that pans out later. His early clears have been very impressive. He's been able to kind of be a little bit faster than Grant in a lot of these things, but he's not been able to match the rest of his team has not been able to match his prio. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
And,
again, looks like
looking
Library
right now, it looks like we have the Piltover jungle starting in the bot lane and Shadow is starting top lane.
So we now have a differing lane. So it looks like I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the game capture. I forgot that was the case. Sorry about that. Yep. Hopefully not too much has elapsed here.
Looks like top lane might be the point of contention with Warpath and top lane. If he's getting a good wave setup, might be trouble for Malphite.
Malphite, I'm not a big fan of using his Qs like so liberally, but again, especially against Cho'Gath, who's able to sustain all of his health, it's not looking too good. But
I feel like the main thing to look for is if you can just do it on those mana flow timings. Yes, I feel like it's okay.
That's absolutely
but
key.
if he does anything outside of that, it might be tough for him as far as the war of attrition goes.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully you can see the game now. Apologies for that. And now we'll see. We see a little bit of a ping going on early on. It looks like
really taking a tower shot.
Oh my goodness, getting really low, but he's able to get out. I believe he's looking to just heal off of everything. Grand is actually might end up looking to hover here. Gets to level 3. Gets the root off. Lands the stun. He's going to go in for it. Lands, kind of goes cheeky. And with that,
first blood going over to Kate Bush.
It was a very ambitious first blood. I respect it.
Yeah, you gotta love the energy from the Aurelia. You know, like she's always gonna be a threat, even if she's a 0-5.
For sure.
It's like 60 health immediately. It's really scary. You know, it's hard to read fights sometimes. With
Mariah really, it's kind of like a dark horse in all this. Mariah's been doing a really good job dealing with Big Sad ADC, right? Big Sad ADC needs to watch out here. He's gonna be he's gonna be dealing with a potential gank. Looks like he does make out just in the nick of time. But
Dodge it, walked away from the Cho'Gath Q. Would have saw doom for him.
mhm.
And
But overall, it looks like they were able
Library
to
11
split.
on bot
Yeah,
side, getting the scuttle
Library 11
rather.
splitting the map. Library 11 and Grant splitting the map pretty well. And with that in mind, it looks like they're just going to continue farming. And you can see, like I said, early on, Library 11 looks really, really nice on paper, right? Clearing a little bit faster, one camp faster right now. And overall, like, as long as every lane stays in a state of equilibrium, I would argue that Library 11 gets like a decent prio for objectives, and overall can be really, really in a good spot for really be in a good spot for like the neutral objectives that come up very soon.
Exactly. I think she's in a great spot so far. You know, if you're Belveth, the thing you worry about the most is that early game. You don't want it to go turbulent. You don't. You just hate to see it whenever you clear, going to the other side, and
Let's
it's
go
all
ahead and
cleared
zoom
out.
out a
You
little
got
bit.
counter
Yeah,
gold, but
we can watch the better
he's doing
more of
just
the map.
fine, and you know, on pace to get that first item before the war.
The action has been very, very heavy towards the top side, which is why we get to see a lot of it. I also
So that's
want to
on
argue.
top might be spell danger for him.
Yeah, they see the wards. They're playing a little safe here. Mariah kind of tempting fate here, deciding to walk straight into Cho'Gath. He's gonna be fine though. It's Cho'Gath. He'll be able to sustain it. A lot of movement here happening. Grand kind of going all in, and Isaac deciding to go ahead and stay here. It looks like we get to see a good Jord ganking, but nothing coming from it. Unfortunate. But yeah, overall, it looks like LazyBoy was just able to continue farming, and you could see that LazyBoy, despite dying early on, has a very good tempo advantage for the wave, and maybe looking for either a good back here or maybe a roam.
Piltover's kind of pushed up in that bot lane. Does Leon have a good position for it? Gets the E on Janna. Is that enough?
Really good
stun
setup, but
enough
again,
to
a
get
really
it?
well placed slow there by O22 means that Janna just gets the back. Nothing serious. LazyBoy got weak, kind of in a weaker spot here, deciding to go ahead. No mana, but he gets the kill, and he's just gonna go ahead and give it. Flash used to secure the kill by Grant. A rather greedy play, but honestly, I respect it. It just means that he's gonna be a little further ahead. And Kate Bush already having a kill doesn't need that, according to Grant. So, again,
Exactly. It was a fine flash. She was very, very close to just walking out of the tower and walking away. If
it
he
was,
didn't do it.
albeit it was a greedy play.
It was okay.
It's-
I mean, look at him. He has no items. You know, want to get that item, but looks like we have Malphite slow pushing a wave into Cho'Gath. We have Belveth leaning topside. So
I also want to point out,
Might be
like,
something.
the action camera has been pointing towards top a lot because we get to see a lot of the kind of the fights happening, right? With Malphite, right, and especially with this, I think with this lane in general, the early game matters a lot. If you fall behind, right, then you're not in a really good avenue to scale. Grant really showing LazyBoy some love here by just hovering Kate Bush for the past 3 minutes. Really just showing how much LazyBoy can pull that aggro, pull that pressure. Big Set ADC sitting pretty and making sure that Library 11 gets all of the Void Grubs here. Means that now, unless Grant, which Grant does, Grant seems to be getting the dragon here, looks like they're going to go ahead and split the neutrals on the board.
Looks like LazyBoy going on a Cape Bush, zoning him away from the wave.
We get to see a good ulti, or at least a valiant effort by Hide on Kate Bush. And it looks like LazyBoy is just able to completely get him away from the actual, like, camp.
Wow, he was. I don't know if he actually zoned it from the XP or not, but if he did, that's a really big play for LazyBoy.
I also like the fact that he decided to go straight to top side where he has the rest of his team waiting, and he gets to pick up these the honey fruit to make sure that he's safe and sound.
And it looks like Mariah Carey might be okay. Malphite doesn't have any mana.
Again, mana
The wave
problems are
crashes,
something.
and it looks
It's
like it's
something
good
that
for Malphite.
Malphite will be dealing with all until the mid game, especially if you're prone to just constantly spamming it, which I don't think is a good idea. Because if you constantly spam Malphite ult, you won't have the ult, you won't have, or not Malphite ult, Malphite Q, you won't have any mana for the Malphite ult or anything else, which I think is very important to keep in mind. But who am I to speak?
Looking
I'm not
at
the
the
player. A really
Look at this
good
guess so
fear
far.
by Hide on Kate Bush, but it looks like LazyBoy really wanted to go in, didn't get it, didn't get much else. Ends up just going in. And you could just see how much Aurelia being able to Q with such ease and proficiency, right? You can see how much he's able to just heal off of that. Looks like
And
they're pinging
lifesteal on top of the Q, killing the minion that heals us. So a lot of sustain.
20% HP to nearly 60% HP. 40% HP just going back. Yep. And he had full stacks
full build Aurelia, the Vamp Scepter. Tell me I'm wrong.
It looks like Shadow Isles is sniffing something suspicious here. Jord missing the Q, but might be a hidden blessing there that he doesn't realize. We see that both Jord and Arcane Havoc have ultis here, and they now see Grant hovering in the bush over on their left.
Now, Library is in a great position to counter gank if they want to go for this.
They are going for it. A missed ulti by Grant means that they're going to have to go and contend with that. They do trade support for jungle, a very good trade for them overall. And we get to see Lazyboy TP in, and overall Arcane Havoc having to ghosting, and O22 having to just flash out. Really well played.
Now there is some trading on the top side. Big side ADC taking a bad trade despite the MR. Looks like my might just be pushing that in, and
Big Side has to be careful. This is not the best lane for him. This isn't the best lane matchup for him. It's not terrible, but it's not the best. I also think that this is a very dangerous place to back, especially considering where Kate Bush and Grant are. That's a much safer spot considering there's no vision at this point in time. We don't know. Keep in mind, Shadow Isles doesn't have a really good idea of where Grant is, and I think that's something to keep in mind throughout the rest of this game.
Now we do have Leona going deep into the top side, getting some vision out.
I stand corrected. It looks like, yeah, we just get vision of him now. Very well, very nice, Jord. Nice support.
Jord must have been listening to the stream. Shout out, Jord. And looks like they have a decent. They know where.
Now they know. It's like a game of Where's Waldo. They just went to the answer key and found him.
Great play by Leona.
So a question here: do they get one less ban for the sub? The ban only happens, as mentioned, if the sub happens the same day as the game. I believe everybody were able to submit their subs prior to that. Yeah, both teams were able to prep for the subs that were happening here. So again, I think that's perfectly fine. Looks like Lazyboy having to deal with both carries here. Grant also covering, and we get to see a good ulti by Lazyboy.
Lazyboy dodging the
R.
Dodging. Gets the kill on O2.
And we get to see Piltover now having to deal with a lot. And we get to see just a great... Oh my goodness, this is absolutely great gameplay by Shadow Isles.
This is maybe.
Oh my goodness, Lazyboy flashing away just to make sure that it doesn't hit. Nothing hits. Really good ignite and auto by Pastaman to secure. Really good ulti by Pastaman. Pastaman looking to fight, but I don't know if he has it. Library 11 finally showing his jungle proficiency here. Well played.
The mastery 4 on him. Get him, Library.
Well,
looks like Arcane Havoc might get the plate. Maybe not. It's really close.
He gets it. He gets it.
The last
I will argue he probably gets that because actually did. Let me check something real quick. I'm not entirely sure. I'm pretty sure the Void Grubs went towards Shadow Isles, which is why they were able to get that. Really well played.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So they now that the next set of Void Grubs are up, looks like Grant and Kate Bush are going to be prioritizing that. Let's see if we can actually go ahead and get a kill onto Grant. It looks like this is a very good situation here.
Looks like Malphite has R up. Oh, but
Grant tries to buffer it, but again, it's a lot of damage, and Malphite, it's really nice to execute here. A really good pick overall. I'd say that this was one of their best picks for the draft.
They might dive
Jord looking really aggressively, and again, we see the amount of pings. It was a very ambitious play. I respect it, but I don't know if it was any good. Yeah, I mean, right now it's looking very nice for Shadow Isles. Lazyboy, just barely missing that second part of the E. And it looks like they have really good prio for this upcoming dragon. Of course, we'll have to see how the rest of Piltover responds. Mariah Carey has, I believe, an ulti ready, or not a TP ready. We get to see the ulti go down for Kate Bush. We get to see, oh my goodness, and a really quick.
Lazyboy might be in a tough spot here.
He's in a tough spot, and he does fall. But I'm surprised that Grant actually stopped his ult early. I'm not sure if that was a bug, but he stopped his ult very, very early there.
Did he? It looked like he finished the kill with his R.
I guess there was a bug on my end. But I will also mention here, both ults were used by Piltover to kill Lazy Boy. There's
And
not
Dragon
a lot
is up. It looks
Dragon's
like they might
up.
have position still for it.
Yeah,
But
they're looking really
yeah,
good.
that's
We
like
see a bunch of
the
resets here, and I mean, with these resets, despite the fact that all that setup was being made, it's honestly a net positive for Piltover. I'm a little sad about the fact that Shadow Owls was not able to capitalize by those ults being down by going for any other objectives. But again, with Lazy Boy back up on the field, it looks like they're going to be looking to contest this dragon again. And we see Jord gets to see Grant stuck in the pit. But
it might be good for Hyman Grant. Looks like Belvast top side. If they take this fight, it might
again
be
looking
advantageous
straight at. And we get to see a kill for Mariah Carey here. Kill going to Shadow Owls. Meanwhile, we get to see another kill here. But 4-man here, right? We get to see 4 people all running straight at Lazy Boy and Jord. Again, the positioning wasn't that great. We get to see another dragon go towards Piltover. But we do see the Void, the Herald, go towards Belveth, which of course is a big part of Belveth's kit, right? Belveth is the Void mommy, so we get to see
Does she get the Void pregnant thing from Grubbies, or is that only Harold?
I believe it's only Herald, and you can see it right now. She has the other, she has the tick going down. Again, it means that this is going to be a really good time for lanes to be pushed. A good TP by Mariah Carey means that they're not able to get the top tower, and bot lane for Piltover actually get the first tower. Grant has been really just showing how much lane presence he's been able to get, but it's at the cost of his laning. If you see right now, and let's go ahead and go to the gold, you can see that he's 2k gold behind. He's died quite a few times, of course, but he's also been having to deal with the fact that Belveth has been kind of very quickly farming, very quickly been able to shut down all of Grant's initial ganks, at least.
And I gotta say, he's been doing a pretty good job of alleviating the pressure garnered by Shadow.
Jord was very aggressively looking there. I don't think that was a
the right
great
spot
pick.
here, getting a pick on Jord.
We get to see a TP going down as well. There's 4 on the bot lane again, and I mean, you just hate to see it. Arcane also, I want to point out, Arcane's been playing pretty well. If you see his KDA, he's 1-0-1. He's not doing too terribly. Library managed to steal that, make Grant a little more upset.
The question marks come out.
Yep.
I wonder if he's tilted.
He's a little upset.
Oh, but the E is hit by a Lazy Boy. He's able to get the kill as the Q reset.
He goes ahead and mitigates the damage done by the ultimate from Hide on Cape Bush. You get to see the Void Grub, the Rift Herald fall down. It looks like Lazy Boy is going to go ahead and be a big Drift King here. Bang. The root was well timed, by the way, for Hide on Cape Bush.
Hoy actually timing the
really good ulti, really good second E by Hide on Cape Bush. But again, if you notice right now, we got a really good ulti. This is a big fight. They managed to get the kill But again, a lot of CC on the way of O2 Toot and Pasta Man and Hide on Cape Bush. They're gonna have to walk back out. Arcane Havoc looking to fight here.
Oh, Pasta Man with a huge tornado.
Really good tornado. You get to see Mariah Carey walking up, trying to get to Jord here. Good condemned by Arcane Havoc. Again, they get out. It's a 2 for 1. They do get the mid turret, but again, it's not looking that great overall.
Looks like Piltover really pushed it over
looking to try and kill
first
here.
tower.
Mariah Carey looking aggressively to try and kill either Jord.
There's a TP by Shadow Owls on the flank.
Aurelia
does not have R yet, but she does have Flash.
Again, this is a very risky play. They do see that TP has occurred, and they're not. I don't think Lazy Boy is really able to capitalize much off of it. They were just looking to position in case they do proceed to siege the next tower, which they had the absolute chance to do.
Now, it looks like she does have Prio on the bot wave. Perhaps they can pressure that bot tower in time, maybe get it before somebody can answer.
Yeah.
And hopefully they can lean that pressure into other places in the map again. Maybe get Prio on the map again.
Yeah. And again, like Aurelia has been playing really aggressively, really far up on the map. And while she has found some success, right? Lazy Boy's been doing a really good job playing her. She's also found herself to be playing really riskily. Here, you can already see Lazy Boy already in a bad spot again, being perma CC'd into Oblivion here. Flees into flee into just knockups, right? That CC chain is something that you have to be mindful of it when you play champs like Aurelia. So again, he's
Exactly. You
not.
know, even though her W it ignores CC for the most part, if a fear happens, halfway through it, the rest of the channel is still gonna fear her after her W ends.
Absolutely.
So it's always something to keep in mind.
Mhm.
And looks like they're able to get pressure back on the map. They do have 2 Drakes
We do see.
over the side of Shadow Isles, so if they're able to, get 4 Drakes in a row, it might spell the end for
I'm
Shadow
not
Isles.
sure if there's any buff for Smolder for getting drags, but if anything, it's Dragon Nation going on for Piltover here.
I don't believe there is, but exactly, kill her dad enough, her mom might appear.
It
A
looks
little,
like we
little
have
Easter egg.
a bit of a copium going on. Ethelren here saying it's okay. Our Chally mid with 70% death participation will turn it around. Truly, it does look that way so far. But again, I feel like game 2 has always been in favor of Shadow Isles. We'll see how this goes. Again, the game has shifted. The tide of this game has shifted. We're looking at it being very even, albeit a little bit better for Piltover. So we'll see how this next drag fight goes. We see that both teams have TPs up on the board. We see that both teams have all their ults, I believe. And it's just a matter of time before we see just this sort of equilibrium break.
Wibbly an ult coming out,
A
but
really
more
good
ulting to
ulti.
counter it.
Yep. Overall, these are great ults to catch. It looks like we get to
Jana
see
already used the R, but Malphite gets a 3-man R,
really good
and it's
R.
huge for
And
Shadow Isles. Looks like Vayne can clean it up.
all of the big, despite Lazy Boy, despite Library 11 dying here, actually was it a 2? It's a 3-4-2. It looks like it wasn't in favor. Arcane has to walk away, and it looks like overall they do fall. Again, it was just the execution there. They should have played that. I would argue that they had a really good initial fight, but we didn't get to see much come out of Jord and much come out of Library. Oh, not Library 11. Much come out of Jord actually. Jord was able to land a
Exactly.
good
The
ult.
CC layering was not there to where they're able to retaliate in time and allow
Jord
them
was already
just
a little
enough time
low.
for the rest of the team to get there.
If you saw that fight, if you saw that fight, Jord actually got really low and then died to the ulti by Smolder. It was a rather unbefitting end. That kind of allowed this game of numbers to go towards Piltover's favor. And with that, we have the third dragon going to Piltover, and they are now threatening Soul Point.
And it looks like it's going to be that Ocean Drake. Really, really big for Warwick and Cho'Gath, who are really durable. Ocean Drake has more value the more resistances you have, because that HP you get means a lot more. And looks like they're going to be really formidable whenever they want to press for these neutrals.
Again, I agree with what Zach has been saying in chat. I don't think I saw much output from Vayne either. Vayne kind of walking in, realizing that the team fight may not be in his favor, and then walking straight back out. While he is 2-0-2, I would really like to see him kind of take that initiative and take the risk and go for a play. He has gold, he is worth some gold, but he needs to show that he is truly worth that weight in gold.
Exactly, and something to keep in mind is just paying attention to where this Cho'Gath positions fights. He has the Frozen Heart. It's really annoying as AD carry, especially as Vayne. Whenever you're trying to get a feel for the fights and getting your auto timing exactly with your Q to cancel the auto, but that can be messed up. You can cancel your auto if there's a Frozen Heart.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
you don't expect that. So sometimes that can make or break a fight, especially if it means proccing your W or not.
Something interesting to note here. Pasta Man actually is
Flash
building.
Star by Malphite.
Get to see a really good pick overall by Piltover, by Shadow Isles. They get to pick off Janna, and now they're also looking to pick off Grant as well, and they get it here. Looks like Otutut, despite being in a good spot, it looks like they're able to get a kill. Oh my goodness, all of them are kind of lining up for Smolder, and it looks like they were unable to answer that as well as they thought. Mariah Carey trying to kill Library 11, but Library 11 actually clings on to dear life, manages to stay alive, and that's actually really good. It's an even trade, and we get to see a lot of the carries fall down from Piltover. That's actually,
Wow.
I would argue
Actually,
that
that was pretty good by like Shadow Owls on my
it
part
was a
because I thought they
really
were
good
gonna lose a
trade.
lot more. Library cleans it up. Doesn't even have to burn flash as well,
Yeah.
and that might be the difference maker in this next fight.
Again, I mean, something to keep in mind, Belveth scales really well against Warwick. So if you just go ahead and look at the item differences, let's go ahead and look at the gold difference as well. Yeah, you could already see he's an entire item ahead of Warwick. It's going to be looking very... Library 11 is just one... like, now has that capability, that agency to be another damage dealer that Piltover has to deal with. It's just a matter of how well they can lock down the most pressing damage dealers on Piltover's team that Shadow Owls has to face. 022 constantly kind of being that thorn in the side for Shadow Owls because, again, if that ulti and all that damage output didn't happen, Shadow Owls could have easily just trapezed themselves into the Baron pit and gotten that Baron objective, but they weren't able to do that because they were all chunked down by Hide on K-Push and 022's damage.
And something to watch right now is looks like we have Piltover posturing towards this Baron, but Mariah Carey's bot lane. And I feel like the fights are a lot harder, especially if Mariah Carey isn't the front of it or isn't there when it starts.
Yeah, that
Especially with all that frozen heart effectiveness, because you have so much attack speed coming from the side of Shadow Owls.
Yep. And again, like I said before, while Cho'Gath may not boast the best win rate right now, he definitely is. Like he's able to farm very, very beautifully into being just a menace, a tank, because he's up against Malphite. They just naturally do a gentleman's agreement and decide to become two big tanks, two big front lines for their respective teams. So again, it's looking good, and unfortunately for both teams, each team looks like they have an answer for both. Looks like we do see a bit of a pick coming down. TP being forced by Lazy Boy to prevent the collapse of Piltover collapsing onto both Big Sad ADC and Library 11. Ooh, we get to see that. Is that Horizon Focus on Hui? That's a very good utility item on Hui.
It looks like it is. It's a very good item on him. A lot of his abilities are really long range, so
Yes,
it's going
it
to get
is.
value from that anyways, and only exacerbated by a couple of the ones that CC him as well.
Looks like they're going to go ahead and think about trading the Baron for Drag. And that's something that Shadow Owls has to kind of agree upon because we know for a fact that Piltover is on Soul Point. They have to be careful about this. Library 11 doesn't know where any of them are. Actually, none of them knows where the team is.
Oh, looks like Belveth flash Wing to get in there.
Really good catch, but you saw 022 kind of flash out or kind of get out of the way to reposition everything. It looks like this is a bit of a shambles situation. They managed to kill Grant before anything else happens, and you see Janeth backing, clinging onto dear life with that flash, and it looks like effectively they were able to get a 1-for-0 kill onto Grant.
Yeah, really great play by Shadow Owls to stop the Silk
Lazy
point.
Boy has to be careful here because that damage from 022 is no laughing matter. They get to the Drake, and with that, the first Drake for Shadow Owls is secured.
Looks like you have Posse Man clearing out the vision of the top side.
Again,
setting for that Baron.
All eyes are on Baron.
If they're able to get on the map, get there first, it's just harder for Shadow Owls to play into it. Because it looks like we have Smolder scaling really well. How many? Smolder's already at the 225 stack.
He's been at the I think he's been at it. He's at 288 now. Yeah. So if anything, as we see more stacks being made, we're just gonna see that ring of Dragon's Breath. I don't know what it's called. Just become larger and larger and dealing more and more damage. So it'll be terrifying to see how much damage that does. But we also have an answer to that. We have a lot of great scaling champions in the name of Library 11 as well. So.
Looks like Piltover pretty well set up for this Baron if Shadow Owls wants to contest it. Have Mariah Carey with TP in the bot lane if they want to go for it, answering for this Aurelia.
And you can already see, despite Lazy Boy kind of getting overextended multiple times over, he's able to actually chunk down Mariah Carey pretty well.
Looks like Janus hovering, potentially getting a pick onto Lazy Boy.
I think he anticipates a bit of a. I think he anticipates this overall happening. Trying to pick off Pasta Man now. Ulti being used and a really sick play. Oh, the ulti. Both ultis now being used by. Oh, he's gonna have to ult away here. Great ulti by Big Sad ADC here.
Amazing ult by K Bush just to
They
hit
managed
three
to
people
secure
with
the
R
They managed to
play.
secure the Baron, but at what cost? It looks like they're able to secure. Looks like Piltover is able to secure.
Looks
Just
like
about
their
everything
ping is
else.
on mid. Are they going to try to end off this? I don't know if
I'm
they
not
have
sure
enough
if they have
time.
enough time to end, especially since Lazy Boy is going to be coming back up. But you could already see 022's ult really decimating a lot throughout that fight. We got to see Grant lock down effectively the rest of the team. My argument here, I think Big Sad ADC got chunked a little too much. He wasn't able to take much more damage. And when T falls, I feel like the rest of the team also falls there.
This
They're
might
not.
be enough. Looks like they're going for it.
They definitely could, but Lazy Boy is always here. We're gonna have to see how that plays out. He does mitigate quite a bit of damage. We do see Jord here as well, and it looks like Jord actually was one of the first to die in that fight, which is very egregious. Jord has ulti here. It looks like if he uses this effectively, it's gonna look very nice. A very good ult coming down. Big Sad ADC on top of Hide on Kate Bush. But if we see right now, 022 is actually just staying alive throughout all of this. Lazy Boy
He gets the reset.
He gets the reset. He actually gets the kill. Holy cow!
But
Oh
he
my!
burns.
He burns. He does burn to smolder. And while we do see that Piltover cannot end the game, you can just see how much damage that 022 is just pulling out. 13, 3, and 6 right now, almost full build. Yeah, I mean overall, both teams are looking very strong, but it's just a matter of time before we see how this all plays out. Pasta Man, I think, is opting to go ahead and split push, which again, given the fact that he has that wave there, I think that's perfectly fine. It looks like they opt not to. Yeah, it looks like Shadow Owls opts to go for that pushing wave. I guess not.
Looks like Pasta Man sensed out the vein, got out in time. Good sensing on that part, and Piltover has the advantage right now. You know, they got the inhib mid, and let's see how they set up for these sides. Potentially getting one person on one side with TP, and leaving the rest of the team hovering mid, and then that other lane.
Yeah. Again, if we look at the build paths, we see this is rather funny. We see that the build paths for Library 11, Lazy Boy, and Arcane Heaven are very similar. They all built Bork. I mean, again, we see all these high health targets, and even Hide on Cape Bush, I believe, has quite a bit of health as well. Let's see, yeah, quite a bit of health. So it's all very reasonable to build Bork, I think, especially in this current patch. We see these Merc Treads and the Wits End built for Lazy Boy. Very, very respect build, but considering how much CC that they have as an output. Flash used by Library 11, flashing it completely over the queue. A bit of a respect flash. It's a respect flash. I like it, considering how many people that was hovering in that area.
And something to watch out for is Utu has that verdant barrier.
He
know,
does.
the new season, there's the spell barrier is a lot cheaper than it used to. It's not a component.
We have a very cheeky ulti by Big Sad AC.
Library gets bursted down by the whale.
He does. And it looks like the ulti by Mariah Carey and Hide on Kate Bush is enough. We do see a backwards TP here. And while this looks really, really bad, we do see that Arcane actually manages to kill Smolder. Will it be enough?
He's getting a lot of autos in
Big
the
Sad
backline.
ADC and Arcane are both alive. This is a huge situation here because while, I mean, I don't think
chunked by Hui.
He is getting seriously chunked by Hui. It looks like he's just going to have to back up. Yeah, Arcane just falls. And slowly but surely, it looks like this is an end for Shadow Isles for this series.
Looks like they let Malphite live.
No, Malphite can't do much into that.
Looks like they're opting to just go for the end here.
Yeah, they're actually, this is a very smart play by Pasta. They're not letting Malphite, kind of get out of their grasp. They're preventing him from backing. They're preventing him from doing much. And then Mariah Carey just walks in with another ulti ready to chomp and end.
That just came up. Do they have enough time to stop this push?
I believe they do, but again, I think this is just a bit of a Titanic situation where they're not going to be able to really do much more than that.
Now, how
Jord,
annoying can Jord be? How sticky can he be? Can he stop these backs?
I
Give
don't know
Aurelia
if it's
maybe enough
Jord per
time?
se or it's Pasta Man who's the more annoying. Jord definitely sticking close, but we don't get to see much more happen here. Really good stop to the E by Mariah Carey. But Library 11's just sticking. I think they end up giving it up. And with everybody positioning the way they are, and with how low Library 11 and Jord are, I think Library 11's dead here with this play here.
Yeah, looks like
He
Mom
is
was called
healing
and
like
had to disappoint him.
his life depends on it, but it's not enough. Yeah. With that,
And that's soul over to Piltover.
for sure. It looks
That's a
like
big
they're gonna
play,
opt
and
for that.
this
That's
Cho'Gath's
honestly
gonna be a
the
big problem.
Cho'Gath's not only the big problem. That's probably the safest play that Piltover can do. They really want to win this. They really want to win it in the most orthodox means. Looks like they're letting Shadow Isles live just a while longer. But again, it's just a matter of time before this is over.
And
Yeah.
that's
They're kicking
the
by the
thing
book. I
with
agree.
against like Malphite and Aurelia. No matter how far you put them down, they're both just so lethal if they have their abilities up.
For
So
sure.
just gotta wait it out. Just play to your minions.
God,
Play
I
them at
love that
advantage.
animation of Baron slowly creeping through the river and now popping up. Yeah, I don't know if you saw that, but
New Baron is so cool. I love the different forms as well of like different like boss mechanics.
Yep.
I still wish it did more damage though. It doesn't do any damage.
It doesn't feel like it does any damage. I agree.
I want to feel like I'm in danger.
Given how durable every champion has been lately, I agree with that statement. They do get a quick hit onto Grant, but Grant has that huge Janus shield to deal with, and it looks like Shadow Isles has to deal with the fact that not only do they have a relatively open nexus, that all that's really standing in the way there is the inhibitor, but they also have to deal with the Baron being an ever-present objective that Piltover can take at any time. Looks like they're going to go ahead and
Now,
push that.
something to take into consideration is that Piltover has 3 elixirs on their team as well. We got the sorcery from looks like Janna and the Smolder, and we have the iron from over the Cho'Gath. So
they've already hit their end game. It looks like Ghost and Ult has been used for Arcane Havoc. He really wants to initiate something here.
Kate Bush hits the R, shoves his library out of the fight.
Library out of the fight. He's not terribly out. He's not terribly chunked out. It's actually looking okay, but we'll see Arcane Havoc's Ghost go away now, and that's actually not a good sign. It means that he doesn't have as much flexibility or kiting potential in this potentially final team fight.
Now, if they don't get the tower here, it might spell trouble for Piltover. They don't have Baron.
Honestly, given they're going to go ahead and use the ult by O2 Toot to go ahead and chase them out, get this blast inhib, or get this bot inhib. And it looks like they're able to, Shadow Isles is able to fully capitalize by resetting here. But I'm not sure if that's enough. We get to see a missed ult by Grant here, a missed E by Lazy Boy, but they're being hit by a lot of different things. A good ulti by...
Grant staying alive for a while here.
Grant is just...
Trades with library.
Trades with library.
Like
we get a kill. We get a kill. Yeah, it's still looking really good for Piltover. And with that in mind, with that ult gone, I don't know how much longer they can actually stay alive. O2 Toot, yeah, just stays alive. It looks like this is the end.
Unless Lazy Boy can pull a rabbit out of his
Lazy Boy
hat.
did not manage to hit, and look at all that CC. It's just nasty amount of CC.
It's so much like Janna, Hui, Cho'Gath, disgusting.
And we get to see how much Maddie has been practicing his Smolder here. Yeah, it looks like Big Sad ADC lives with his life, but has lost the game overall. Very well played to Piltover.
Clean O2 from the side
with
of
that in mind, it looks
game.
like Piltover is now 1-0 and will be facing Freljord next, I believe, next week. Meanwhile, Shadow Isles, now with 1 loss, is facing elimination. And will be up against whoever loses, I believe, the next match that's coming up later this week. And
something to take note is that there's nothing to hang your head on if you're the side of Shadow Isles. You know, you played a great game, and you had a lot of strong points to pivot towards. And if you're able to just navigate some of these neutrals, I think this would have been a completely different game.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and play I'm gonna play something that I think Shadow Owls needs to hear. Very well played. Yeah, it looks like Jord also just responded. But if you look at the damage charts here as well, you'll notice that Smolder did just almost all of the damage, Hui Elf obviously as well. Whereas the damage across Shadow Owls' board was relatively even throughout. I actually respect that immensely, considering how much that each person played. I would argue Vayne maybe could have done a little bit more, but again, that's just me griping about my own things, my own personal opinions. But overall, really great series to watch. Really good and valiant attempt by Shadow Owls, and hopefully we'll see your redemption arc in the coming weeks.
Exactly, and just a nice clean game. You know, not a lot of leaks from any lane whatsoever. All of the lanes pretty much scaled to a T and executed those fights.
For anybody sticking around still, go ahead and go to that Google Doc. Go ahead and select your MVP for today's series. I believe Piltover will be just the 5 Piltover members. And of them, obviously, we do have 2 subs, but go ahead and give them a shout out as well.
Go Smolder! Go Smolder!
Hello. Welcome, Grant. How'd you feel?
What's up? I came in to play the Go Smolder sound.
I see.
Feeling good.
Feeling good? Nice.
Well played on the Warwick.
Well played.
You feared him quite a bit.
Yeah, the first
your play
game,
and your
I didn't
ability.
miss an alt. The second game, we don't talk about it. We don't talk about
The second game,
Hey.
they made sure to try and counter you as best as they could. I think
Dude,
that
You were
they were-
zoning for their flash escapes. I dig it. I saw the angle.
That damn Irelia in mid lane fucking jumped around. I was like, you missed the alt. I'm like, I don't know how to hit him.
yeah.
It's too slippery.
I think there was also like a cheeky there was a
stuff.
cheeky camp steal as well that Belveth tried to do as well, like midway through that game too. But again, yeah, just a bunch of while it wasn't your best game, it was definitely you definitely contributed very much to the overall state of the game.
The important part was that every death I had led to something. That's all that matters.
For sure.
Exactly. They were all good deaths in the in the eyes of Bowson Law, if you will.
The whole game was just me hearing Luke, our mid laner, just be like, "Come in! He's diving!"
As an Aurelia,
He's mid,
as a
mid.
person who plays Aurelia, that makes sense.
The wave still
All constantly
frozen. I'm
in
like,
your
"Dude, I'm
face
so sorry.
at every point. Yeah.
I gotta get these Krugs.
Yeah.
Play the jungler.
It's,
Well, you know, you were down in CS, but you were up in temp, like, and just being on the map, and you know, preparing a lot of different potential fight angles, and you know, I think that really helped your team in the mid game.
Yeah, library's insane at just like whenever he sees me on the map going and taking my camps. The Nidalee game, like we knew every time where he was, so we weren't really concerned with it, and like I was just like we were always just like calling out, and it's like yeah, like he's taking the camps, but we're gonna get a kill top or mid
or get an
bottom,
objective
wherever.
as well. Yeah.
The opposite side. Yeah, like they
Exactly.
didn't get any dragons in the
first game. You're right.
first game. Yeah, we got all 6 grubs. It was, or maybe we traded grubs the first one. I don't remember. I died for the 2 though to stop the 6 stack, which whatever.
That's hashtag worth. Like
Yeah,
grubs
hashtag
are
work, exactly like Sarah's telling me you
it's
need
the
to
new
back up. I'm
hotness
like,
this
I'm
season.
getting these 2. I don't give a fuck if I die.
Your
Sometimes you just
your
gotta do
pride
it.
as a
jungler
is at stake.
Yeah,
You know.
sometimes you just gotta stop the 6 stack because
for sure.
I'm not sure if Belveth gets the full like coral for that, but if she
I'm not
does,
sure
I
either.
stopped it.
But see, it's like,
no one
can
checked
you
that though. Just assume I stopped it.
can you really type jungle diff if you don't get any grubs? You
The
know?
library's scary, dude. That guy just knows how to farm.
Yeah, farming.
Although the
machine.
Nidalee was weak. It was no goat Nidalee. Sorry, library. I gotta
Oof.
call you out on that one.
Yeah, we were saying if they only had like a little bit more setup. I felt like their team was relatively squish.
Yeah, they
I
were
They
also-
just had like one or
Yeah,
two
the
more.
first
beats.
game, their draft was kind of all over the place. I think y'all could just run through them easily, especially
Yeah.
with Maokai, with Warwick. They had nothing. Yeah, kind of stopped that.
We had a lot of fun in the first game. Second game was a little more.
A lot more high
anxious.
intense. Yeah.
It was definitely competitive for a vast majority of the game.
So,
It was
question. So, who are going to be the subs going forward Because I'm assuming Sammy is.
Just Pasta Man in for Spice Horror.
Mhm.
Spice Horror was our support player. She's got some stuff going on, like school, all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. So hard to actually balance league with it. So we're Pasta Man Sarah LOL is taking over. Bauer was just subbing in for Ben. Ben had a date, so he ditched us.
I see.
But we still kept the top lane dominance that our team is known for. Except the
played.
2 times he died solo. Shout out to Bauer and
Yeah,
solo
no
deaths
worries.
of the Cho'Gath.
Sometimes you got a little bit of wrinkles, you know. Everything can be
Yeah.
perfect. It's all, yeah.
But again, like with your subs, Piltover still maintained their dominance, and very well played to you guys.
We're looking forward to the Freljord fight in 2 weeks. Because I'm sure you guys will beat whoever comes out of the 4-5 game. Unless it's Noxus. I don't know. Noxus
Never
looks
know.
really strong.
Yeah.
And if Ionia can like draft a decent comp to like actually facilitate Stars Align getting those like super early kills, they'll be
I
strong too.
believe I misspoke. I think I said that it's y'all will be facing us next week. I think y'all will be facing us in the coming weeks because I believe
weeks,
y'all
yeah, we have a bye next
y'all now have a bye. So
Yeah,
very
stupid.
nice. Yeah.
It's a format. It's unfortunate. If we
No
want to
worries.
keep like
We
wanna
have
push
5
to,
people.
like,
Yeah.
we want to push
Or-
the like single week games, like the single game weeks, to the like end. We want to keep like the high volume games in the beginning, which is why
see.
we chose to do it this way.
That's understandable. But yeah, again, like keeping all 5 teams in check. Thanks to all the bartenders for continuing to maintain and organize the event.
Yeah, thank you for casting. I look forward to watching it back.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna play this out and then I'm
a fun
gonna
game.
leave because we love this thing here.
Go Smolder, go Smolder.
All right. I don't know if George's gonna come in. I think we just do winners usually for interviews. But again, thank you guys for watching. This is your cup of Joe and Profit coming in to.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in to the start of the playoffs for the Hextech Cup. You got to see Piltover versus Shadow Owls next week, I believe, or I guess later this week we'll be able to see Noxus versus Ionia as well.
Oh, that's gonna be a good game. Noxus on the
is.
rise. They played really well in their last game. Let's see how. I'm excited to see how that goes. Have Nazgul doing a 180, honestly.
For sure.
I got popped off.
Yep.